I'm not finding fulfillment in these women. I'm not finding fulfillment in the drugs. I'm not finding fulfillment in being drunk every night. And I got to a breaking point of being tired. Even though I started walking with the Lord, I had taken some backsliding steps, you know what I mean? And got back into the pills and the whole craziness. But then I was like, at that point in time, I felt like God just kept blocking me. Like, I'm not gonna let you move forward back into this space. Do you feel like there was anything in your world that was like, nah, Angela, like, you gotta chill?
It wasn't anything that was like, nah, other than just myself.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like as adults, nobody can really tell us like really what to do. It was like, nobody can tell you what to do, not even the authorities, depending on how much money I got. Just kidding. Just kidding. But no, I was just like really honestly just tired of myself and like tired of like waking up and feeling a certain type of way. But I know for a fact like I'm way smarter than that.
That's good. That's good.
You know what I mean? Like, I just built everything myself, and I know what to do. Like, I know what's right and what's wrong. And then, but to speed it up, after I got baptized, it was still like partying, getting it, all that. And then I was like, all right, September 14th. I don't know if something happened the 13th, where I was like, all right, the 14th, that's it.
Okay.
I'm going sober on these folks, and I'm gonna really stick with it, because I would do it, and then I would get up to like 6 months, and I'm like, ugh. Get a shot.
6 months is kind of crazy.
Like 6 months, then like this, and then 4, and I would keep trying like over and over and over. So now I'm like, now this month on the 14th would be 19 months sober.
Sober soldiers.
Yeah, so September would be 2 years.
Yeah. Nah,
it's going by.
I've never told anybody this. I don't think I've said it publicly. I think what was the Super Bowl in LA? That was I don't know when that was, but yeah, that's how long I've been sober. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, whatever Super Bowl was. Now before that, I was about 4 years or so, and I took a step back. But for me, 2022, so it's 2 years for me. Yeah, 2 years I've been sober.
Wait, but month?
February. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah, sober game. You know what I mean? For me, it wasn't so much like, oh man, if you love God, you don't drink. For me, it was like, I think I just didn't handle it well. You know what I'm saying? My decision-making process was, okay, we need to say.
God damn, so, I just can't have one. I gotta act a fool.
Come on.
God,
come on.
Please.
That's me.
This is not normal. But see, it's like a chemical imbalance.
Nobody was saying that to you, because you was like, it's Black China. It's like, let her be lit. Me, they like, yo, what is the Craig doing? What is he doing? Is he
no.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I was like, I gotta chill. Like, my decision-making process is all that. So I can see that. And now it's over like this.
It's good. Wake up, and it's like, we want to go out with people, you're like, so who do I want to be there? I'm like, all right, maybe I'll just try tomorrow.
Did you feel like your life was, I felt like this, I feel like my life was built around social drinking situations. Like, it was like, why would I go out if I can't drink? You know, that's what I started to feel like. I don't know if you feel that way.
Not so much, like, I would just drink at home.
Okay.
I'm a homebody, so like, everything's like at the house. At the house, and if I do come out, it's like, it's a rare Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the transition happens, right?
Yes.
And I didn't know nothing about it. The way I found out was you posted a video.
I was just about to say.
You posted a video and you actually used my song in the video, and I was like, what is this? Like, what is, I mean, it's Angela, but at the time, my friends were like, Black China just using my song.
Right, what is he doing?
What's happening right now? You know what I mean? So, what was the inspiration? What was the thought process? Not for using my song, obviously, just in general, like, let me make this video, like, let me post this.
I wanted to have a visual for Easter and for Jesus rising, and I just wanted it to be like super cool. It was crazy we could get that shot, because that cross on the side of the highway. So mind you, we're scaling the build like the side of the mountain, because there's no way you can get up there.
Yeah.
We're scaling it on the side of the And then your song was like perfect. Right?
It got a little ratchet, but
it was the perfect balance.
Yeah.
Towards the can relate to some people and it's not too far off
Yeah.
what's going on.
That's how I like to live my life. Exactly. That's why I'm so excited to have you here, because I feel like you represent that. Like, I feel like it's the same game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people can't breathe in the spaces that you've been able to breathe in and then be a real person. And I've seen you do that. I've seen you, like, you breathing in some crazy spaces that people's brain can't imagine, and then back in reality, just living real life. How do you manage? Because there's a media thing, and I get the media piece of it. Like, in the media, it's like, you don't do this, you don't say this, you know what kind of narrative, you know what I mean? But in real life, were you realizing, like, man, I'm in some wild scenarios, and like, what is your brain, how are you processing all of that?
I just look at the scenario and I'm like, this is wild. And I'll be like, all right, 24 hours, it'll be over. Next.
Okay.
Because that's how it be something else, somebody else would do something wild. But of course it still sticks there. And then I've never been the type of person to be like, oh, let me address this.
Okay.
And just it never happened.
Yeah.
Just imagine me going back and forth with people on the internet or just in general holding my phone and like, it never happened.
So you might be better than me. Sometimes I get under my skin. Sometimes like the folks almost slide in the DM and slap you. Just being honest, that's me. Lord forgive me. A lot of crazy stuff being said about you. You just was like, I mean, was there moments for you where it was like?
I mean, but you know what? I've been doing it so long.
Okay, that's good.
I came out in 2008.
Right.
That's like a long time.
That's true. So it's kind of like it just is what it is at this point in time.
It is what it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother you then either when you make this transition and people was like having all these crazy things to say about you.
Oh no, I mean, when I posted everything, I mean, I only saw like the positive stuff.
That's mostly what I saw, but I didn't know, you know.
Yeah, you have like some people and all that stuff like that. That's fine.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The changes you made physically.
Yes.
Okay, now.
I'm glad
I don't. All of those
that stuff is crazy.
All right, you said that. So let me ask. Can I be
My
real?
face is
Can I be real? I want to understand. Because I ain't never asked nobody this. I want to know, like, we see our favorite celebrities, our singers, and then they go through this, like, plastic surgery change and the fillers and the whole nine, and we looking at them, no, you look crazy to us. Like, in y'all's mind, in your mind, you're just like, yeah, this is dope. This
looks great.
Really?
When you're in it, you're like, this looks great. Add some more right here. Chisel me up.
Really? So when you just want this,
Whoa.
people just like, yeah.
And nobody never says anything. And then half the time it's free.
Okay.
And then that's when they start getting carried away. Oh yeah, you start bringing your people. Like, why can't they even do it for free? For a shout out.
It's always wild. I get on the plane sometimes and I'm in Orange County or something, and I just be like, yo,
It's getting crazy.
this lady looks like a whole robot. Like,
It's
it's
too
not
much.
play with you.
It's too much. I feel like girls gonna stop. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I hope so. But I'm glad you did that. Not to say that, like, spiritual transition makes you do those, but I do think that it makes you look at your identity as way more than just how people see you. Like, you're
Right, because it was like everybody started to look alike. Everybody looks alike on the internet too.
Facts.
Yeah, like I'm still trying to figure out this whole my hair situation. I love my short cuts because I'm like, man, every time I put on certain hairstyles and stuff, it just draws me back to like something else, and I don't like it.
I can see that. What about I know you got the tattoo removed.
Yeah, I'm still getting that removed too.
Okay.
That.
What? I heard the removal was worse than getting it done.
Like, yeah.
So it was a Baphomet.
Yeah.
Right. And at the time, I guess you was just like, oh, it's dope. It has all these dual meanings.
Yeah, I thought it would. Yeah, to me when I got it done, I thought, okay, man, woman, evil, good, day, balance. You know, oh shit, look at this guy, perfect right there. And everybody's like, oh, that's the devil, that's Satan.
Yeah, let me flip that.
Yeah. But like once you start, it's like one of those things where you start going down the rabbit hole of Googling and looking up stuff and trying to figure it out. I feel like a lot of people have been there.
Yeah.
You just start looking up stuff and get you deeper and deeper into some mode. Yeah.
Did people, like, were people opposed to your transition? Were they like, yo, you changing too much, or we don't like it? Or was there anybody that was
No.
everybody been supportive of it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Even like your latest, strongest friends, they was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah!
They
What's up? Yeah.
They came in.
Everybody has been like super supportive and stuff like that.
Okay, so I know you did say in terms of that tattoo, like you felt like there was some spiritual energy or demonic type of energy.
Yeah, it has to have some type of anything you put on a certain like a wear and all that stuff. It has to have some type of effect.
Yeah.
Some type of vibration. I was just wondering, I can't vibrate anymore. I'm tired. Mama is tired.
So for me, and I told you this, and I've said it probably 3-4 times since we've been talking, but I think specifically, right, I grew up with a single mom, right? She grinded, she hustled to make it happen for me. I also understand what it's like to be misunderstood. And just to be in a position where like people just don't get who you are, what you are. I've also been in a place where it's like, okay, I'm trying to grow mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and I'm in front of the whole world. Right. The reason why I have such great respect for you is because you're navigating all those things and you're doing it well. Like, I'm like, for real, you're doing it well. Like, I don't think people give you credit for that. I don't think they acknowledge the hard work it is just to be a single mom. Every single mom out there knows how hard it is to be a single mom.
Yes.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to grow in front of the world, right? Like every decision you make, the world is watching. So you can't get from A to B without the folks just like, well, why you do this? Why didn't you do that? Well, what is this and what is that? And then just the sense for you, I'm gonna work, I'm gonna grind. I think there's a misperception, and you can speak to this. I think there's a misperception because these women do exist, right? These women do exist out there who are like, I'm gonna find me a baller and I ain't gonna have to work no more, right? Why is that not you? I can see it, but why is that not who you are?
It's never been me.
Okay.
Like it's never been me. I like my money. And I just like having my own, and I like owning certain things and just having it.
Yeah.
Having like some type of structure over like my life.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then that's why I just celebrated 10 years with my Lash Cosmetics. And I was like, man, it's crazy, it's 10 years. So that went by really fast, and King is 11.
Yeah.
So just even, we started a business and having a little baby, and then just continuously doing that throughout the years and just trying different business avenues like, Black China Closet and Angela White Couture, House Pure, just all these different things. Because I know what it's like going back to that being hot and getting all these endorsement deals, and then it's like what happens when all that stuff gone, what happens when it leaves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why I've always like grinded for my own stuff, because those things are like nice, those are like plus and perks.
Yeah.
But it's always nice to just have like your own stuff.
What did you want to do? Like, because you kind of became a celebrity without trying. Like, you kind of fell into the celebrity world. But you're a businesswoman. Behind the scenes, we know you're a businesswoman. But what did you want to do? Like, what did you envision? Like, if you were, this is what I wanted to do when I grew up type vibe.
I never really had that luxury, but there's a few things that I did want to do. When I was younger, I wanted to be ice skating. I did want to be ice skating.
Did you ever ice skate, or you just wanted to be an ice skater?
I did it like twice.
Okay.
But it's funny because I remember saying I wanted to own a liquor store. Hey, I'm from Houston. I did not.
Yeah, that was the limit.
That's
that was
terrible.
The bar.
Yeah, that was the bar.
Yeah.
Owning a liquor store? Like what? On the corner?
So you was always an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur in a sense, but like as far as like my businesses and things like that, I always try to do stuff that coincides with what I do, so it's not a stretch. And people can tell when it's a stretch and when you're lying.
Right.
I feel like people can sense it. That's why I don't lie about nothing. It is what it is, and this is who I am.
I'm genuinely encouraged at that kind of mindset that you have. There's a lot of young girls, and I remember Deion Sanders had quoted a young lady when he talked to his players on the team, just for her to articulate like, okay, this is how women are gonna try you, and this is the whole nine, this is what's gonna happen out here. And I think that a lot of people have had that perception about you, that you were just kind of finessing your way out here in LA and without knowing the behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, see the thing about it is you can't finesse like men. I mean, you just really can't. It's not like, oh, I was in a strip club and I just looked over and I saw Tiger. You know, he came to the strip club, you know what I mean, to come and see that China. Like these people come to see me. Even when even when me and Kim started hanging out, like she posted me on her Instagram. Like Rob hit me up. I don't just use so hey, let me talk to you and hang out. Like it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In this industry, like people they always come to see me.
What's also dope is how, to me again, like you've given up a lot to pursue a different path, a different journey, and you're not leaning on. You got some big names to lean on if you really want to lean. You got a lot of clout to fall on if you're like, oh, I'm about to get it popping, and yet you're doing it your way. You're doing it, on your own in a sense. Like you have your own team, but you're building something new.
Definitely, and this year I was like, you know what, a lot of things that I was doing, like, cause I cut down from this thing, right? We saved it, right? Then we factor in like all these other things, you know what I mean, like hair and glam, that it's like super expensive, and I'm like, wait a minute, what are these people doing for me? You get what I'm saying? So now I'm like super more selective of like who it is that I go through. Is this like a money grab for you? But to use like my face to like get more clients and things like that. That's why like this year and last year it's just been focusing on working out sobriety in the Bible. And if it doesn't like fall underneath that, then I'm just really not into it.
Yeah.
And I've had to turn down a lot of things, and I'm like, these people are crazy. Like I made some crazy stuff. I think the craziest one, I gotta tell you, I think the craziest one is I got an email from somebody who were like, yeah, we want you to host this poker night at this thing, and if you get some people to come, like your famous friends to come, then we'll give you an extra $500,000 per each one, and just all this stuff, and we have to do the Indian. I'm like, get out of here! Like, come on now, like, get out of here.
Hey man,
it's been crazy stuff like that, like just even some hosting things, like even movie roles where it's like, why would I be a sexy stripper villain, whatever y'all want me to, that's too much. Right! That is too much.
I mean, obviously you've been here for a long time, but let's imagine you talking to a young lady. She's fresh out here in LA in the industry. She's starting to get it popping a little bit. She got a couple famous associates. Maybe they're not her real friends, but maybe she feels like they're her real friends. And she's like, man, how do I not lose myself out here? Like, what do you tell her?
I think it's mostly like staying grounded.
Okay.
She got to stay grounded with the people that know her the most. That's what put her in her place.
Okay.
Because what happens is we go to different states and things like that. It's like, all right, family, you're not working. I'm working.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So then it becomes like this, and then you're working, doing whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
But not really including the people that was there with you prior to. Even if it's a sister, brother, uncle, somebody that's just gonna keep you like, hey, where you getting out of? That's yeah. Somebody's gonna come to you correct, but like from a loving standpoint, yeah.
And do you feel like you have? I know, from what I understand, your mom was in your corner. More recently, like, hey, I'm proud of you. I appreciate you for so and so forth. Were there people like your mom who was like trying to make sure you stay on the same path that you're on right now, early on, or were there people, or do you have those people now, or were they there back in the day when you were doing your Black China?
The people that are still here from when I was doing Black China thing, because it was always annual too.
Okay.
It's just like once I crossed that boundary, it was like, wow.
Yeah. Okay.
But no.
So you got people in your corner who are supporting and keeping you.
Yeah. So super supportive and stuff like that. And when people don't, I have to give them a break. I just hit the little block button, and then I'll unblock them, and they'll get it.
Respect.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Respect.
Yeah.
And then now you acting now.
Yes.
You are I mean, I seen my guy, actually he go to church with me, Ron Rico.
Oh yeah, Ronnie.
Yeah, the Hamptons joint. And how's that transition been? Just going into the
Smooth,
Hamptons?
super smooth. So I've been doing that for what, 2 years now? 2 years now. But I really enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot.
And is
I
it,
think I'm gonna do it.
as a businesswoman, are you like, is there two different hats you gotta wear to like be an actress and like, okay, I'm trying to build this on the side. I got this business, I got this going on.
No, because everything that's coming is like, is meant. It's easier.
It's meant to be.
Right, because I'm telling you, like, I used to grind, and like stay up and try to figure out what's the next. If that's too much, that'll wear you out too. And then just to look at me and be like, I really do. Oh, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It always seems like we're not doing enough because we're looking at other people's pace and what they're doing. So it makes you feel like, damn, maybe I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
Putting 20 hours in a day. Do what you can. What about the rest later?
So I feel like the elephant in the room oftentimes is that you are, what people want from you is to associate you with the men in your life, the famous friends in your life. What's the misconception? What is the thing that you kind of want people to understand is like, hey, I'm more than this, right? How do you want the world to see who Angela is outside of just like, I'm connected to this man or I'm connected to this, group of people? How do you want people to see you?
I want them to look to me as a businesswoman,
Okay.
as a mom.
Okay.
Because I have a mom too.
Okay.
Entrepreneur, and just as a real person.
Yeah.
Like, it's Angie.
Yeah.
I'm just doing this.
What's Angie doing like on a regular day? Like when she wakes up in the morning, what's life looking like?
First thing when I wake up, I see it, daily devotion. Daily devotion, and then get to the emails, check my text messages, just relaxing, just good times. Yeah, candles, clean house, just trying to figure out what it is that I need to do for that month.
Okay. So a lot of people don't recognize just the reality of just a normal life, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the big lights, camera action, and then, you raise.
And that's before a split second, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a second, it's not like you just wake up and it's like this every day.
And would you say you're introverted? Like you just chill at the house and be like, what's up?
Yeah. Just what I am.
No, a lot of
I love
people are like that, like they're introverted people. You keep looking over here, you confirm this?
Or an introvert?
Oh, that's the weirdest relationship when two people are introverted. So people invite y'all places and y'all be like, you wanna go? Not really. You wanna go? Not really. So y'all just content to be chilling at the house and not wanna pop out.
I love it. Everything's at the house. The studio's at the house. The workout set's at the house.
So you don't have to get out.
I'm good. But you know what? Every summer I say this summer I'm gonna leave the house. I'm gonna say it again. This summer I'm gonna leave the house. You go do what you gonna drive around my Heart's Pure Sprinter van. You know what I mean? Go downtown.
What do you do for fun?
Work.
You gotta do something else for fun.
Yes.
You need a hobby, actually. You can't work all the time. You fun out. You gotta do something.
Alright, what's your hobby?
Honestly, right now, Netflix. But that's because I'm in between hobbies.
Yeah.
So Netflix is my hobby. I'm not saying that I'm not advocating that that be your hobby, but you need something to get your mind off work. You also a mom. So being a mom is also, that's a full-time gig.
Yeah.
Along with, I know I got my kids and it's a full-time job raising kids. But then it's like,
Soccer guy, gymnastics.
you're a whole job. That's what you are.
Yeah.
You're a whole job. Your kids probably rolling up in style. Y'all know y'all like pulling up, like, you know what I'm saying? Well, listen, man. There's a lot of ways. Again, that I feel like you inspire folks, that you enlighten people. I don't think the fullness of your story has been told.
And it's always like, just even over the years, like I've always had like this mystique thing where it's like, think you know, but that's just not even it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially when it's on my page. Like, who is that? It's me.
Nah, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate
I
you.
want to know like how the full story is going to unveil itself.
Like your story?
Yeah, I'm so curious. Like every day, I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen today.
Well, I mean, you made a big jump. So that's a big transition. Like everybody gonna wake up and be like, yeah, Jesus, I'm gonna go like do a video in front of the cross. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not that don't happen every day. You know, especially like, yeah, I was in a strip club and then Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not how that typically goes down.
Yeah.
So again, like I think the biggest thing, I didn't know what was gonna come of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad that we got the interaction that we got. And for me, I just like to champion folks who are like, man, I'm gonna embrace the Lord. You know what I'm saying? That's my biggest thing is how can I champion you? If you like, man, I'm gonna walk with the Lord in front of the world, I'm like, well, shoot, you know, you got an army, you rolling with you. What you need? You know what I'm saying? We coming up behind you. I want to support you in that capacity. That's the biggest thing for me, and to see
That's what we're doing right now.
the effects.
It's just why everything comes full circle. Like I saw you literally a year ago.
That's crazy.
Yeah, because we see Easter.
Yeah, Easter. Last year.
So literally been 1 year, and here we are. So I know like some really great stuff is gonna come about.
That's all that's my thing.
It's like putting it out there.
Yeah, I'm with it. You doing music, right? You doing music?
Yes.
Okay, so you gonna produce a song?
Yeah.
We can talk about I'm with it. If you with it, I'm with it. Alright, cool. A lot of people are. So
I'm with it.
Okay. That'd be kind of hard. You know what I'm saying? Like now.
Because I was telling somebody, I was like, I think he's on tour. Like, see, what is he doing?
Yeah. Really?
He's like, he's on tour.
I've been on the road, but again, like as far as the music, I love the music. The music that I do, that's how people know me. I wanted to be able to sit down with people and like, man, let's talk life, let's talk faith, let's talk where we at, and also just to encourage folks who are watching, because I've been in this seat before and had people like, you know, bring up the most craziest thing that I was involved in or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, tell us about that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, there's about 30 other videos about that if you want to go find those.
Right.
But you want me to keep telling the story over and over again, I could. So I didn't want to do that. What I wanted to do is be able to give you an opportunity to talk about where you are, how you got to where you are. And for other people who, you know, are inspired or want to get to these spaces, they don't have the courage. Like, there's a lot of folks who don't have courage to do what you do. They're afraid, you know, of losing money. And you took a bold step and you still killing it. So, you know what I'm saying? I was actually gonna start an OnlyFans page during COVID. It was just gonna be my feet though.
Yeah.
I was just gonna show off my feet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was a guy from the OnlyFans, that's what he did. He's making some coins in it.
That's what I'm saying. See, I don't know if I would have shut mine down if I was getting that feet money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I might still be on OnlyFans right now.
Yeah, I think they actually have a website just for feet. I think it's called Feet Money.
People are like, wow, why do you know that? I need you to not know that.
He said, yeah. He got the gap.
Yo, I'm gonna need y'all to not know this is a real thing, man. I'm gonna need you to not know
It's a
that.
real thing.
Yeah, listen, to me, it's like, hey, man, there's so many ways to move in the shape. So I'm glad you know what I'm saying, you came out on the other side and scared. You know, I know it's a lot of real crazy stuff. Yeah. A lot of crazy stuff behind the scenes. People just don't even understand. So.
And it makes me happy because the time is just keep going. Because it's like when you do it again, it's like, okay, it's the beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, it's about to be 2 years. And then it's going to be like 4 years. And I can't wait for the,
Yeah, it becomes a lifestyle.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right. And then you know what, too, I watch some girls and I'm like, okay, it's a little bit overbearing. Like, they're just like super OD with the, now every Instagram post has to have this spiritual stuff. Like, okay, we get
not a real person.
We get what I'm saying. That's a little bit too much, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like people see that that's not a thing.
Speaking Christianese, I keep it real.
You gotta keep it real.
But they hate on you when you keep it real. They don't like that because they want you to fit in a box. So if you're gonna be ratchet, be ratchet. If you're gonna be righteous, be righteous. But don't be mixing the ratchet and the righteous together, because now you know, it becomes a problem.
Yes.
But that's the space I live in. So I love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm grateful for it. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, like, again, I make myself available if there's anything I can do, serve. Again, like, I just want you to know, you got folks behind you, rooting for you, championing everything you got going on. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So whatever you got popping, you know, I want the believers to be like, all right, she on the home team.
I'm on the home team.
Yeah, we rock with her. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? And listen, we all in different spaces and places. So, right. You know what I'm saying? We got everybody under the sun. You got your cousin Christians, your drinking Christians. You got all of us. We cousins, we brothers and sisters, man. Let's live and love. Man. So, thank you again for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, God.
Yeah. You're coming out of a space where there's kind of like a cultural Christianity. You had a lot of fans and followers who were picking and choosing. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman is a certified like superstar. One of the biggest songs in the history of music. I was this church kid. I'm loving like Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and Prince and all of that. And so, but those things were never to be pitched, never to be touched. Man, I always felt like God had a leash on me. And like I would always ask, well, God, why is this person so successful? Why is this guy headline? It's so great to me now. Because I can look at dudes that I looked at the time, that are going through trials, and there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and I look back at that leash and I go, my God, thank you for saying no. I remember being at a place where it was like, oh, I don't think me and my wife are gonna make it. I mean, this is a wrap for us. And if it wasn't for you and Kristen just being like, this is what divorce is, and then inviting the Spirit of God in, I don't think I would be there. I simply said, if divorce is an option for you, you got too many options. And I say that because this is the deep end with LeGray. All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we on a roll. I don't even know the kind of favor that I have. It doesn't make sense sometimes. Like sometimes I'm just like not just on a podcast, but in real life. Like I know people, and I'm like, no, that's so crazy. This gentleman is a certified like superstar, like a superstar. Like I don't know what you say. You know, he's had one of the biggest songs in the history of music. He's had tons of hits. That's the other thing. If you start doing your Googles, you're like, dang, he got a lot of hits. Tons of hits, written a lot of hits. Produced and Grammy award-winning producer now. You know what I'm saying? Because he produced my project. So that's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy. Full circle moment. But also an incredible pastor, mentor, leader, for me, big brother, husband, father, child. My God. What's up, man? Appreciate you, man. Good to be here, bro. How you doing, man? Man, I'm good, actually, brother. It's like, it's crazy. We've been missing each other. Yeah. But I know both of us are like going a million miles an hour. But whenever we catch up, it's like, we just lock right back in. Exactly. I love that. So I'm honored, man. Like, yeah, there's so many places we can go. What's kind of crazy to me is, bro, I did not realize all of the hits. Like, this is the crazy thing about you is that you are like you are a different level of humble. I don't even, like, you carry yourself in another, like, I'm like, because I know you from so many other things, and then I'm just like, researching, I'm like, dang! That's tough, man, that when you talk about the humility in that area, because sometimes I don't want to be humble. Like, so, I'm being honest. Like, sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know, one hit one. I'm like, well, which one hit? Ooh. You know, because we've got a great catalog of songs, not just for me, but that I got the opportunity to be with other people, and just from that standpoint, man, I got a catalog, and so I love when I do get to perform and go places, you know, and I do a song, and I do a song, and I do it, and it's like, oh, I forgot he did that. I didn't know he did that. Oh, I didn't do that.
oh, you did that too? And so it becomes this, almost a remembrance of people to, go beyond just singles and realize that there's a
A
catalog.
whole big old, like, obviously, cause I know what it's like when people know you for one thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, oh yeah, that's the coming in hot dude, or whatever it is.
Right,
Like, it's
right.
like, oh yeah, that's
Which ain't a bad thing.
It's not, that's
It's
what
not
I'm
a bad
saying.
thing.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't want to put this, like, this is how we do it, is literally like game-changing song for, that song for generations will like live on. Testament to your craftsmanship, to your skill set, to everything. But I've seen you live a few times. I've seen you at State Farm Arena,
Right.
and what blew my mind, because I don't know how I didn't know this, was the Deborah Cox. How did we get here? Like, you wrote that song, and it was like, oh, my man penning big songs for other people, all kinds of. So, again, your reputation precedes you, obviously.
Blessing, man.
Yeah.
Blessing to have. And I always like to make sure that when somebody mentions a song like Deborah Cox, Nobody's Supposed to Be Here, or Cisco's Incomplete, those are songs I had, you understand how to great
Team, but
at that time, you know what I'm saying, my godbrother, Chef Parker, I always got to make sure his name is mentioned in that circle because together we were trying to be the next Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis back at that time. So, shout out to him and those
and being
men.
humble. Listen to be humble. Because the industry don't do that. The industry will play a hi-hat and be like, yeah, I did that. You feel me? That's me, all me. And then technically you're not lying. So it's like, you're not lying, but you know what I mean? So I do appreciate that, man. It's a lot. So even like there's your history, which, is very intriguing to me because as a kid who spent a lot of my time on the West Coast, I just gravitate toward like West Coast artists and West Coast music and so on and so forth. So like knowing your history was like always exciting for me. Also, that's how I found out about your music, was just being a fan of West Coast music at the time. So I found out about your music because I mean you threw South Central in the song and I was like, oh shoot, where's he from? You know what I mean? But even though I met your music through that, I met you years down the line in a whole nother type of realm where it was like, this is a man who loves Jesus.
Yeah,
so I was super skeptical. I was like, how does this all happen? What is going on here? And how does this happen? So I love for us to like talk about how we got there, but just take us back to like Southern California. You are mom, dad, like what's the story? How did you get to become the person that you are today?
Okay, well, born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, 4th Avenue, Slauson. I'm 11 blocks up from where neighborhood Nick was taken out, with the marathon.
It's interesting because being a celebrity, you get access to things other people don't. Like being the first to access this content. If you want to be the first to access content like this and not have to wait a week or who knows how long before you can see this content, you should subscribe to B-Side, where you will get the content immediately as soon as it drops and you won't have to wait at all.
I'm a product of what it used to be raised by a village. Like I'm a product of, if you get out of line, the neighbor can spank you. Be home for the street lights come on, product of that. Younger brother, 2 younger sisters. Grew up in the hood. I ended up going to a Catholic high school because where my home was, it was situated right between Cripshaw and Dorsey, which basically was Crips and Bloods within the neighborhood. And so my parents were trying to take some protective measures, and so sent me out to Gardena to all guys Catholic school, which is funny to me because even in the school systems back then, it was almost like fraternal systems or whatever. It was almost like, this school, Sarah, was more like Catholic-ish, and Virgin Day was more Q-ish, and like it was just weird. Even before I ever got to college, it was just like you could see different type of guys and different type of styles and stuff like that. So that was kind of my upbringing, kind of sheltered from. Ice Cube would say I was affiliated, meaning I was not in a gang, but I was close enough to them to kind of get a pass.
Yeah, all your friends are in gangs.
Everybody. Church musician, so I'm playing piano. My boy Chef is playing organ, 50-person hoop. And so while I'm there, going back and forth in the neighborhood, high Crip area or whatever, but the Crips in that area, their grandmama and them go to church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So because of that, that was where the past of being able to function in both neighborhoods, came about. And I'm just taking in all these stories of music from the church, growing up with Clark sisters and my God, mission and all the greats in the church, but also having this attachment of music in the world. Like, I'm loving like Stevie Wonder and Michael Jackson and Prince and all of that. And so, and I love 80s music, which was crazy, Cyndi Lauper and the Police. And like, I was very eclectic musically in my taste. And because I was this church kid, it was kind of like what was secular and what was holy were very, very separated worlds.
Yep.
And so I quietly had to kind of stay in between both of those worlds, knowing I'm a church musician, I'm a child of God, I know I'm a kid that belongs to Jesus. Don't step in the pulpit or walk around because only pastors belong in that space and something can happen to you real bad if you even step in that space. And looking and revering what holiness was given to me as a kid, but also knowing, man, there's some spaces in the music that I'm feeling, and it doesn't feel unholy to me. Like, there's some spaces where I can actually feel like God probably had his hand in something that was created over here, but those things were never to be mixed, never
Meat and potatoes couldn't touch.
No, sir. So that was my quiet place of, my journey of saying I didn't go to seminary. I went to cemetery. That was my space of where I had to go to the music business eventually to die, to find myself. And so that's kind of my upbringing. A very musical kid, non-athletic, was sucked for me because I got to high school. I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall. Last name is Jordan. And don't play no ball. That was just terrible, bro. Jerry Carroll, everything was just a very, very bad time for me. But that's when I learned the comedy. That's when I learned that music was the way I was able to carve my way to being, Revelation. Learning to be one of at least be accepted by the cool kids. Which is kind of offline, having a conversation about, my daughter and who the cool kids are. And I knew who the cool kids were. I knew I was not one of them. And in order to be accepted by them, I had to find ways to infiltrate or chameleonize myself enough to be accepted in those spaces. And so that's kind of how my upbringing was, is getting all this music in.
That's very interesting that you say you were not one of the cool kids, right? Like, because the world knows you as like nothing but the cool kid. And I find it interesting because I think a lot of times the kids who are not the cool kids, when they get a taste of whatever cool is, they get some of the Kool-Aid. They're like, oh, give me some more of that Kool-Aid. I ain't never had that before. So do you think that because of your unique upbringing and kind of like being in church and sheltered from being whatever it is that you could have been, that once you got a taste of success and fame, that it was a lot more intoxicating for you?
I don't know if it was more intoxicating for me to get a taste of that. I think it was probably more sobering than intoxicating.
What you mean? So explain that.
When I say more sobering for me, it was upon realizing what fame was, or getting a taste of having a #1 record, or those things didn't. I've always felt like God had a leash on me, and not in a bad way, but I've always felt like I could never fully reach musically or artistically my potential of what I could be, because what I could be outside of God and what I become inside of God are two very, very different things. Like, I would always ask, well, God, why is this person so successful? Why is this guy headlining? I got these hits. God, why are you letting this do it? I love you. Why are you? And I think that was part of the reason why it was sobering to me, is sobering to me now, because I can look at dudes that I looked at that time, you know what I'm saying, that are going through trials and that are in jail and navigating Epstein-like stuff. And like there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, and I look back at that leash and I go, my God, thank you for saying no. Thank you for telling me no. That's another thing is,
I want to dive into that too, because one of the reasons why, like, so I shared on another episode about the darkest season of my life, you know, where I just was consumed. I really wasn't walking with the Lord. I was like struggling with what I believed. The fame was at a different height. Number one out in the country, all these types of things. And when my ship crashed, there was only one person I could think of to talk to, and that was you, because you're the only person I knew who had seen all of, who gotten so close to the sun, but also burned. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But talk us through the story of like getting that record deal. Like, how did that even come? Because back in the, because nowadays kids put a song online,
Right.
and then put it on Spotify, and then they're on TikTok, and then pow. But back then, there was no way for anybody to access your music unless you had a record deal.
Fact.
So, how does that even happen?
Yeah, well, you know, Craig, a lot of times people will say, well, what's the, you know, they always ask the question, what do you feel about the music business back then and the music business now? What's the main difference, or this and that?
Yeah.
I want to start there. I want to say that during my time of music, people were invested in artistry.
Okay.
As opposed to, I think now people are more invested in songs.
Okay.
Meaning, if I like a song, I don't care if it's little this or little that or maybe this or little, whoever that is, I like the song.
Right.
Whereas the body of work in our time period was more of a, I like the artist. And so because I like that artist, whether they have a song on the radio or not, I'm going to support that artist. And support didn't mean I'm going to download the subscription. It meant I'm going to physically go out and pay for something, and that I can tangibly hold it.
So around the store to buy a CD or tape, yes.
Absolutely, and I think that to me is super important. Even today, artists that I love, if they drop something, I'll shoot you a text that your album dropped. I didn't just download it.
Yeah.
I'll actually spend the money and purchase it and shoot a text. Be like, yo, I didn't just put it on my stream. I didn't just put it on my plate. Like, I purchased it. And so for me, that was an investment in artistry. And I think for me, back then, that was the journey for me. I was not just trying to build, we were the brands, the artists, their lives, their stories was the brand. And so I was Russell Simmons' rap singer. That's how I got my record deal.
How did you find me? How did you hear your music?
Russell found me through a DJ named Paul Stewart. I've always had the greatest love and respect for all DJs. If you spin records to this day, I don't care if you use a Serato or you're still using Bomb, I got the greatest respect for DJs, because a DJ saw me. He was working with John Singleton at the time. Director J, Big Brother Director J. John Singleton had a company called New Deal Records. All his movies, Boys of the Hood, were through his New Deal imprint. And because he and I had connected through some college stuff, he was my entry point into trying to get a record deal. And Paul Stewart was his A&R. And so, but John was very, very, you know, John is in heaven. John was very, very cinematic, very, very into film. John didn't know nothing about music. You know, that's what I had Paul. And so I worked with Paul on a day-to-day, doing demos and doing things to try and get into the music business, because I sounded like other people. I didn't know who Montel Jordan sounded like. I was the type of dude where, because I grew up in church, I knew how to try and sound like John P. Keith. I knew how to try and sound like Commission. I knew how to try and sound like Stevie Wonder. So I could familiarize whatever I was doing in a song to sound like this person in this space. But with all of that, I never knew who I sounded like. And so when I was trying to get my record deal, you know, I can remember who was my first. You'll never hear this anywhere else. I had my very first demo that I put together. I had a music group called 2 Times the Swing. It was me, my boy Shy Love, my boy Ant Money. and we had produced this on the ASR-10 keyboard. We produced this little R&B groove that sounded just like a Guy song. It had the Teddy Riley New Jack feel to it, and the chorus was like, girl, I just can't wait to take you home. And my nasal tone and everything, I was trying to sound like Aaron Hall and like all that there. We took the demo tape to somebody at Motown Records, an executive there, and he heard the record, and he was in his house and he pulled the carpet back, and we're sitting in this guy's living room, my boys playing the keyboard and my other boys dancing in the room or whatever. Like we were like trying to recreate, I'm singing the song, and after we have that moment, the guy says, yeah, that's good, but you sound like Guy, and there's already a guy. He said, let me tell you what you should do. Gangster rap. Gangster rap is gonna be huge. Like I promised you guys, this is what my man told me. And so we were like at the time, like what are you talking about? He wasn't lying. Right. Boy told the truth. But the point of that was, in that musical, in trying to do the groups and do all those different things, man, we just musically, I just started trying to, eventually that would fall apart, and just in trying to develop, who does Montel Jordan sound like? Even after my first album, bro, I still didn't know who I sound like.
Gotcha.
And so, even people, they'll joke, and they say, this is how, they're like, this is, because that's how it sounds to them, because that's what I didn't know what I sounded
your voice.
I did not know what I sounded like.
You're coming from this background where you're listening to all these big Prince, Michael Jackson, Steve Wonder, and John P. Key commission. You're trying to find you, right? What's kind of interesting is that if you don't know who you are, that industry will create an identity for you.
Oh, the industry will tell you who you are.
So I'm curious. You end up getting signed to Def Jam, which Def Jam, because I'm thinking about kids these days have no idea, like Def Jam, what Def Jam was. Like Def Jam, like even my generation, Cash Money would have been Def Jam to us, but even for a younger generation, it's like there's nothing that you can't compare it to anything, I think. Like, but Def Jam was like where only the biggest rap artists were. Like the LL Cool J, all the way down to Kanye West. Like Def Jam is the place to be. So you're literally like an R&B dude, the one R&B singer.
All of these. Okay, so that's two quick stories.
Okay.
One, when you talked about when you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
At that time, I did not know, and you know, when you know whose you are, you know who you are. I didn't know that until later though, because at the time, I did not know whose I was. And so when I got to Def Jam, there was people who were there that when there was A&Rs, artists development, well, we're going to develop you, artist development. We're going to show you who you are. And so I can remember being in, and there was some bad chicks that worked in the office or whatever, and they were like, hey, don't smile. Don't smile. And you see, I'm goofy, I'm cheesy, and you look at all my old first Montel Jordan stuff on the album covers. Like, I think Dwayne Johnson probably owes me money for the eyebrow thing. Like, I was doing the eyebrow thing before The Rock was doing the eyebrow. I can still do it. But all my album covers, all the stuff I was doing was all ice real. It was always this dark. The album covers was always dark in the low sun. But you from South Central, you from the hood, so they painted this picture of a guy who was just straight from the hood of South Central LA. He's hard. He got Crips and Bloods that are friends, and he's singing about the hood. And so even as I'm talking right now, you kind of see my mannerisms and the movement or whatever. This was given to me. This is not who I am. It was never me, bro. And so because I did not know who I was, I allowed other people to define who I was. And that's a word for somebody out there. If you don't know who you are, somebody is ready to tell you. And so that was the first part of the journey of being on the hip-hop label. Funny story, we were church kids, man. Kristen is managing me, and they would say, my wife Kristen and I will be married 30 years to each other together in this upcoming June. And I can remember, because she was managing me, she would be in the room with the Def Jam representative. And I love Def Jam. I got the utmost respect for the label, and it was a great marriage musically for that time period in our lives. Nothing bad to say about them at all. they helped shape a lot of the, and my parents, there are great things I got from my parents, and there's stuff I don't appreciate that I got. And it's the same thing with Def Jam. I think with the label, it was like my wife would be in the meetings and everything, and she is who she is and everything, and they would be like stomping on her and walking over her and this and that, the other, until one day she like snapped in a meeting and got up and stood on the table, like at the conference room table, stood on the table and was like, and cussing me around, whatever, and they were like, finally, well, we knew it was in there, somewhere. And that's part of the development or the negative.
They wanted that toxic energy.
It's what made that, it was all about the logo. To this day, that's what they would say, hey, you represent the logo. And so, that's one story I wanted to tell, just in regards to not knowing who I was. And then also, I believe either you become the company you keep or the company you keep becomes you. Let me say that again. I'll say that slow. I said that fast myself. Man, you will either become the company you keep or the company you keep will become you. All right, so I did this thing for my first album, song called Something for the Honeys. We had the Ghetto Ball class.
I remember this. Method Man, Red Man, all of them in the golf carts.
Well, what people don't know is we saw Method Man, we saw Red Man, we saw Cedric Ceballos, my God. Like you saw a couple of artists that were in that music video, the Ghetto Golf Classic. But literally, the Ghetto Golf Classic in that Something for the Honeys video is like a 15% of what the actual video was, because literally it was 5-6 times bigger than that. We had almost every rap artist on the planet had come out for this Ghetto Golf Classic. I'm talking about everybody. Snoop was there. He had his Rottweiler dogs there. Like we had lobster tails and shrimp cocktails up at the like they set this golf course out, and our folks at that time did not know how to act on a golf course. They had women all laid out in bikinis on a golf course like it was the beach or something. And this Montel Jordan Ghetto Golf Classic was the biggest thing ever. And there was some hip hop beat, like I said, because I was a part of Def Jam, we had invited the who's who of hip hop. And there was a beef at the time between the Dog Pound, Nate Dogg, and BG Knockout and Gangsta Dre.
Eazy-E's crew and Dr. Dre's crew was beefing.
There was a lot of stuff that was going on at that time, and Redman and Method, like what a cool, like everybody. When I say, bro, it would have been the most epic video ever of all these rap artists all in one space, because an R&B dude had brought everybody, together. And literally, it was just one moment where I think it was probably Redman, it's probably Reggie Noble, was joking around, and he was driving all these golf carts, Bentley golf carts, and all these, high-end Ferrari golf carts or whatever. He's driving, everybody's following, and he just hits the brakes and he stops. When he hits, Method Man hits him, Coolio hits him, this person hits him, bop, 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 bop. So all these rappers, bop, 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 big traffic jam of golf carts all get wrecked in this moment or whatever, because one of the guys, I think it was BG Knockout or something like that, bumped into Nate Dogg's car or whatever, and they happen to be right in that spot or whatever. They have this moment where one of those guys hits Nate Dogg. Nate Dogg, kind of leans over, grabs a golf club, comes back, breaks the golf club over my man's arm, and at that point, everybody's running. They break into the trunks of the cars. They cracking bottles on the ground. Like they turned a posh golf course into South Central Baghdad, bro. It was bad. And so, long story short, what ends up happening in that is they end up canceling everything that day. They scrapped the entire hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars that I was accountable for, that I was recoupable to me. And then we did a smaller golf course thing the next day, just to try and salvage that we had a video, guys shooting and the people that were willing to come back the next day. So that was literally, the Ghetto Golf Classic was very, very small compared to what it was. I think it would have been probably one of the greatest videos. Brownstone was like, oh man, it was epic or whatever.
Let me tell you what's funny about this. I have actually seen the footage of Nate Dogg and BG Knockout getting into that fight online. Like I've seen this fight as, like growing up, I watched it because Snoop did this whole like thing where he was talking about stuff, and I saw the fight. I never knew. I was today years old when I realized that was on your video show.
Yeah.
I knew Easy and Dr. Dre
So
was
I paid for that.
You paid for that
So I
fight.
paid for that. I paid for that.
Dang.
Yep.
That's history.
Yeah, I paid for that.
So, okay.
So I took you off on a
No,
tangent.
that's
right?
crazy.
Ito ka na
That's-
sila,
okay, so, again,
Pindrahan. Paano
there's-
klase
I
ito?
mean, there's probably so many
Kasi?
stories that I think
Oh, di
probably
Olivan
have
yan.
this time period. But what, like you're
Ito po
Your-
ko
Ed
biro na.
Moy
song
kayo,
blows
ah.
up, right? Your album blows up, first record, right? You're suddenly thrust into the role of a superstar. Do you feel that immediately, or is it a process? And then how is your soul processing that in the time period? Like, are you like, oh my gosh, this is me? Are you getting more arrogant? Like, how's this happen? What's happening?
I believe we process.
Let's see. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please hit the subscribe button.
It develops